Hi, everybody.
Hello there.
I'm Jerry.
And I'm Linda.
We're the Village's Newcomers with a great show for you today. We are thrilled because we have the Village's fire chief in our house. We'd like to welcome Chief Ed Cain.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to come and speak today.
Well, that's great. I mean, we've compiled some questions, and we get questions from viewers. So I'm going to fire away at you here. But first, I want to tell the viewers a little bit about you.
Yes, sir.
And you correct me if I'm wrong, because I probably will be. But you've been with the Villages since about 2002.
2002, yes, sir. Correct.
And then in 2014, you were named fire chief.
Yes, sir.
So of all the firemen in the firehouses and everything, you're the guy.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Well, that is amazing. But you started actually with a career in firefighting long before.
Yes, sir. Actually, I started in the EMS side of the world in 1976 in Melbourne, Florida. So I worked for a volunteer ambulance service there till about age 21, and then I went to work for Hillsborough County EMS, which provided both paramedic and transport services for all of Hillsborough County, including parts of Tampa. So it was a dual response system. And then in 1982, I was told that Leesburg Fire Department was actually getting out of the ambulance business, and Leesburg Regional had offered to take the ambulance service over. So I thought, well, that'd be kind of neat, start out at something on the ground floor. So I went to work there, and we had 2 ambulances on duty that took care of the northwest part of Lake County. So basically north of the Howey Bridge, or actually the Turnpike overpass on 27, part of Howey in the hills, Leesburg, Fruitland Park, the Villages. We covered all that with 2 ambulances. So, and then at age 42, I got the bright idea to go to fire school and did that for about 6 months, got through that, and then came to work at the Villages as a firefighter paramedic.
And now, what a big job. I mean, the Villages spans parts of 3 counties.
Correct.
Do you have a good, I bet you do, kind of number of the population of the Villages now?
The population in the Villages is about 140,000 residents. There's about 10,000 plus daytime population between the charter schools, the hospital, the construction workers. In addition, as you said, we cover 3 counties, which include the city of Lady Lake, the enclave in Lady Lake that belongs to Lake County, city of Fruitland Park, soon to be Leesburg, Wildwood. So we cover approximately 94 square miles in Sumter County, Lake, and Marion County that we provide fire protection to and paramedic services.
In that 94 square miles, how many actual firehouses are there?
There are 9 stations throughout the district right now. They are spaced at approximately 2 to 2.5 mile radiuses from each station. So they overlap in certain areas. The typical makeup in a station, the norm is usually an engine company, which has 4 personnel on it, a rescue unit, which is called a quick response vehicle, which is non-transport. Both of those units and all the other 16 plus apparatus in the system throughout the 9 stations are all licensed and staffed with paramedics. So basically you have approximately 16 paramedic units in the Villages that cannot transport. So we're there to stop the clock, to provide the pre-hospital care, advanced airway management, medications for cardiac arrhythmias, and being able to start IVs, those kind of things. So we're there to stabilize the patient.
The Villages is growing. I mean, and you've been here a lot longer than we have, so you're seeing it, and it must be amazing to you also how fast the Villages is growing. Will there be new fire stations and new facilities built to keep up with that growth?
Yes, as we continue to go south, both Sumter County and Leesburg, the same methodology is used for the spacing of the fire stations at 2 mile radiuses from each other. So they are actually on the drawing board for the next couple stations in the system.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And I will also tell you that there is 50 personnel on duty each day. Those are firefighters. Out of that right now, 61% of our staff are certified as paramedics and have been signed off by the medical director. The rest are EMTs. There are 2 battalion chiefs that both work a 24-hour shift, so there's one in the north, one in the south, that are there to back those units up and to oversee and control the scenes, depending whether it's a structure fire, car accident, even a medical call. They're there to back up the primary staff that's on scene.
And you have offered to let us go to a fire station after a while, and it's kind of a thrill.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody loves a fire truck, and we're going to go. And I was trying to think which one's closer, and I thought there's one by Sarasota Golf Course.
Yes, sir.
And there's another one over by Eisenhower Rec.
Yes, sir. And there's another one south of here, south of 44. That's the newest station. I neglected to tell you both that our staffing level is at 50 per shift now, and we were very fortunate last year. We applied for a federal grant through the FEMA group. This is called a SAFER grant. It allows fire departments to put on additional staff. So we applied for the grant. We were granted the grant for 27 additional firefighters.
Oh, excellent.
So it brought my staffing on the large trucks, so the engines, the aerial devices, to 4 personnel per truck, which enhances our firefighting abilities. In addition, the grants usually run for approximately 3 years, and normally they are based at a percentage of each year of what the department pays in. Unknown to us, when we applied for the grant, the feds had changed the mandates, and actually we've received the grant for 3 years at 100% the government is paying for, so we are not paying at all for those individuals for the next 3 years. So that was quite the feather in our cap, but it helped us enhance the service that we provide to the residents and the visitors of the villages.
Are there any female firefighters?
Yes, ma'am, there are approximately probably 8 female fires, if not more, in the department. We have female lieutenants that are controlling the scene, plus the station house. So yes, we do have females in the department, and a majority of those females, if I remember, yes, all of them are paramedics actually, and a multitude of them are working their way to the next level, become a lieutenant. And we actually have 1 or 2 of them. They're on the special ops team that we have through the state of Florida. So the most recent where people noticed special op teams were down in Miami-Dade during that situation.
Okay.
They brought in the big teams from not only within Florida, but within the country. And obviously Israel was another alternative. But we are part of what they call a technical rescue team in Florida. So we can be deployed, and we have been in the past, for things like brush fires and those hurricane standbys, those kind of things. So we have a team that's specially trained in those situations and has the equipment to function.
How would one go about becoming a firefighter? One of our viewers would like to know.
Okay. We have a volunteer program for under 18 that they can come and ride. So the kids from the charter schools or any other schools that are 18 and older. The state of Florida mandates that you must be a firefighter 1 and 2 to go to work for a department and able to make entry into a structure fire. So we require full firefighter certification 1 and 2. We require that they must be an emergency medical technician and licensed through the state. We do have firefighter paramedics that have come to the department. I have actually 61% paramedics in the department, and I have 9 individuals that have just signed up to go to paramedic school. So we take whether you have a paramedic or whether you have your EMT, we will look at both those applications. Obviously there's a testing scenario, there's an interview, so that's how we do it.
When your firefighters get to the scene, there's going to be some EMS workers among that group just about every time.
Yes, sir. As I stated, on every apparatus, we have a driver engineer on the big trucks. We have a lieutenant that oversees the operations of that particular apparatus. And we have 2 other individuals, firefighters, what we call riding backwards. I would probably say on a majority of the calls, you will end up with a minimum of 2 paramedics on that particular apparatus. It could be more just depending on how the staffing works. So yes, we are there to stop the clock, provide the care. Unfortunately, due to some recent events, we have had to wait on the scene a lot longer than we've anticipated, but we're there to take care of those patients until the transport units arrive and be able to transport the patient to whatever medical facilities they need to go to.
You may not want to speak to this, but I heard some sort of controversy about who responds to an EMS call. And that was, you guys are close and you would be happy to do it, but what happened there?
The villages surrounding is obviously in 3 counties. So each county has their own transport agency that is contracted. Marion County is what we call a fire-based transport service. So not only are they firefighters, paramedics, EMTs, but they can also work on an ambulance and transport patients. Lake County has what we call the third service, EMS service, through the county. It's owned and operated by the county. Sumter County is a little different. They have a for-profit private company that's contracted with the county. They have been in the county for approximately 10 years providing service. They are experiencing very long arrival of transport units. So that is controlled by the county and overseen by the county. So there has been an ad hoc committee formed to review both fire and EMS. I will tell you that there is not any issues with Sumter County Fire or the Villages Fire. Both departments work seamlessly next to each other on major calls. The issue we are having is on the contracted for-profit ambulance service not meeting their contract.
Can you give us a ballpark response time to, say, a heart attack or a bad fall here in the villages?
The time that we use is from the time the truck leaves the station till it arrives on location. So you're looking just under 5 minutes throughout the system on an average. There is a percentage base that's used for the accreditation process. It's a totally different system, but that takes from the time the 911 dispatcher picks up the phone to the fire department arriving on location. So it's obviously a more lengthier time, and it's also looking at 90% of the call volume as opposed to 50% of the call volume.
So after the truck starts rolling 5 minutes, you should be able to.
Yes.
Now, would ordinarily multiple locations send or only one?
It depends on the severity of the call. Those same standards that we just talked about for medical calls apply to structure fires. So our goal in a structure fire is to put approximately 16 people on scene 8 minutes after the call comes in. That's a national criteria, but it depends on the call. If it's a fire, you're going to get a lot bigger response. If it's a medical call, you'll normally get 1 truck. If it's something like a cardiac arrest, you'll get multiple apparatus on the scene. So when we also utilize what we call the closest unit response countywide, so villages units can go into Sumter County outside the contractual areas because we may be closer or have the availability where they may be tied up, and they can come into the villages too. But there's no asking questions. It's just automatically done with the computerized dispatch system. So it looks for the closest truck, it looks for the location of the incident, and it tells the dispatcher who to send.
Tough question here for you probably. Everybody has a cell phone. We don't have a landline. When we dial 911, if we're conscious, we tell you our address.
Right.
What if we're not conscious?
There are issues with cell phones, unfortunately. Just like you said, if you're not conscious and you can't talk, or you've dropped the phone and become unconscious, the system has the ability to ping that location, but it takes multiple towers. I have told people in the past that, bring this subject up about certain areas. They ask a bunch of questions, which they will do whether you call on a landline or a cell phone. But I suggest strongly to people, for example, if you have cable TV in your house, pay that extra little bit to have a landline, because as soon as you dial 911 on that landline, the screen will light up in front of the dispatcher and it will show the address of the location. If anything, the dispatcher will ask you to repeat it so they can verify that address. Cell phones are very difficult. I've had situations where people have told me that it took 20 minutes for them to figure out where they were at, And I actually go back to the 911 center, and they have produced me maps saying the person was at this location, it hit this cell tower, and 3 minutes later we verified the location. Granted, a second seems like a minute in an emergency, and a minute seems like an hour, so I do understand that. But like I say, if you have cable TV, at least have one phone in the house that's hooked up to that landline. Because even with that, if you dial the number and hang it up, the dispatcher already has the information. So they're going to call you back and verify whether you truly had an emergency or not.
Looks like you just cost me $10 a month more.
It'll be well worth it.
Now, I'm a member of this crew in Dunedin, this neighborhood, that mans these AED machines. When we get our call, do you get it at the same time?
Actually, the call that you're receiving is going out the same time the fire station is being paged. The computer in the background, as soon as the dispatcher has identified that as a cardiac or respiratory arrest, the computer automatically takes over. It already has the 911 address. Like I said, we're being paged the same time you're being paged.
So by the time I walk out my door, after I've gotten the key out of the drawer and I'm ready to go, your truck's rolling.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's comforting.
Very.
Yeah. So you're going to be here pretty quick. And by the way, these fire stations, they're beautiful.
Well, thank you.
I mean, anybody that's down here, if you look at the one number 44 or 45 that we talked about, they're just gorgeous buildings. When you build a new fire station, do they get brand new equipment? Do they get a new truck?
Yes, sir. Normally, when a station is built, the fire truck's ordered at the same time. It takes about a year to build a fire truck, believe it or not. So that equipment is all done at the same time. There have been incidences when the truck may not be quite ready when the station opens, but we have spares to put in there. But yes, brand new appliances, furniture, brand new trucks, brand new equipment on the trucks are all ordered at the same time.
Yeah, they're beautiful. And we go by at Eisenhower especially and see them working on her. They like to wash those trucks, don't they?
Yes.
Those things just gleam. And they're so pretty. And it's comforting to see that. And I know you as viewers out there, you want to know that you're protected. And let me tell you, these firehouses look top notch and they're close together, but we don't see any fires.
We do have fires. I will also tell you that there is an ISO rating done by the insurance companies. This is done nationwide. They come in and inspect fire stations, equipment, personnel, records, response times, and they have this very long, complicated formula that they load all this information in. The advantage of ISO, it assists you with your insurance company, whether it's a residential structure, commercial structure, and the norm for ISO, a 1 is the best score, a 10 is the worst score. They will not even give you an adjustment on your insurance at 10. So in the villages, we are actually an ISO 2 rating right now.
It's hard for me to imagine a town with more and better located fire stations than we have. So we appreciate that. Okay, go ahead.
Question. Fires in the villages. Are most fires in the villages from cooking, or is it structural, or what kind of?
There's a gamut of fires. Some are cooking, some are electrical related fires, some are battery related fires. So it's just not one particular type of fire, but there's multiples, and the majority of them are structure related fires.
What about lightning strikes here? We get all the time. The concerns are that lightning is prevalent in Florida. We're one of the 2 top states in the nation. Do you get any calls from?
It happens occasionally, yes, sir. We do. We do get lightning strikes, but once again, with our rapid response staffing, we're able to stop those. There was one down in the Finney area a couple weeks ago, and we got there within like 4 minutes of that particular fire, extinguished what was burning in the attic area, secured everything, shut the power down, the gas, and actually tarped the hole that was in the roof.
You keep good stats, I'll bet, on your calls that you go out on. Can you tell us how many cats you've saved?
Yes, we did do a cat rescue the other day. These people were moving and the cat didn't want to go. So, but we do a lot of ducks, believe it or not, out of storm drains. We've gotten an occasional alligator out of a house, snakes occasionally, but a lot of it's ducks, believe it or not.
We're anxious to go look at one of your firehouses, and do y'all have poles in those?
No, sir. They're all one-story stations.
I wanted to go down the pole.
I wanted to get her on that pole.
Yeah, that's
That's a common question, isn't it?
that too. But you don't find too many stations anymore that are being built with second floors.
Yeah.
Any chance of driving the fire truck?
No, sir.
Oh, poor Jerry.
Well, listen, it was so nice of you to come to our house, and if you don't mind, we'd love to accompany you
Sure.
over there.
Great.
All right,
Let's go.
All right. Now a tour of the village's fire station number 44 with Chief Ed Cain.
We are at Station 44 on South Morris Boulevard at Moyer Loop. Behind me, the station. This station has two purposes. One, it holds the administrative offices for the fire department and actually houses a crew in here. So in a few moments, we'll go and do a walk around the station. We are in the lobby at Station 44, and we have two receptionists out front here who not only answer calls but take information for the smoke detector program that we do, which is a free service to the residents. This allows us to go in and change detector batteries for the residents, and we also call this our fall prevention program. So we'll wander around the admin side first. We have a dining area for the admin staff over here. And we'll start going around looking at different offices. Right here is Chief Kara Watts. She oversees our EMS division and training. And we have another training officer that's wandering around somewhere who oversees fire training. This is the office of Don Niebling over here. He does all our SOPs and investigations and administrative duties. And Sharon is not here today. Fire Chief's office, and in here we have Deputy Chief.
This is your office?
Yes, sir, that's my office. And this office here belongs to Chief Goodworth,
Well,
Deputy
hello there.
Chief Goodworth.
I recognize that face.
Hello.
I'm a YouTube fan, video fan of yours.
Thank you.
I enjoy them. Hi, how are you?
We don't have Gizmo.
You don't?
Do y'all have a Dalmatian?
No, ma'am.
Oh, come on.
No dogs.
No dogs allowed.
Nice meeting you.
And this is Kimball's office. He takes care of all our professional standards, accreditation, policies and procedures also, and statistical data.
Wow, I love that collection of badges and patches.
Did we lose Linda? Oh, there she is. So, this is the bays for the apparatus. We have a very unique feature to this building here. As we go out in the center, you'll notice that the second floor has been set up for training. So they can do mazes up there. They can actually rappel off that area doing rope rescue. This is the primary engine here at Station 44. In addition to the engine, we have a rescue assigned to the station, which is in the next bay over. We have an air trailer, and then we have the antique fire engine that's on the other side of the bay to that. To drive an engine here, you must be what we call a driver engineer. They have to go through certification programs. They have to put X amount of hours driver training, and then they actually take a test to become certified as a driver. And there's two levels. One is the driver for an engine, and the other one is two other levels for the two particular type of aerial units that we utilize in the department. So we'll walk over here if you guys like. Now, when we had talked earlier about our rescue units, This is the older version of a rescue unit that we have. Out in the outside there, that's the truck that's actually assigned to Station 45. That's what we call a quick attack. It has a small pump and a tank of water on it for brush fires, but it also functions as a paramedic unit also in the service.
I noticed they're plugged in. Are these electric?
No, sir, they're actually gas or diesel. The reason for plugging them in is because between the equipment that needs to be charged constantly and the batteries. So actually when they start the truck, those cords eject out of the side of the truck so you don't drive off with the cord hanging onto the truck. But there are electric fire trucks out there now, slowly but surely. And then this station also contains the air trailer over there. We take that out to locations to refill air bottles after a structure fire. Give you an idea of all the equipment that's carried on the trucks. It doesn't fall on me. So this is just some of the equipment the trucks carry. In addition, these yellow hoses are hooked to the exhaust system to decrease cancer mitigation within the department.
How much water does the truck hold?
The engines here carry 1,000 gallons of water. So we can get in and start a pretty quick fire attack. In addition, the hydrants are at about 500 to 800 feet throughout the villages. So we can actually lay 1,000 feet of large diameter hose if we have to. But normally we can get in and start an attack on the first truck, and then the second truck comes in and drops the line and then connects to the first truck. So it's kind of tight in here. I apologize because all their equipment's sitting in here, their gear. But this cabinet here contains all the medical equipment, their bunker gear that they put on going to a structure fire. And when we were talking about times earlier, they're averaging about 45 seconds to get out to the truck from the time the tones go off, 24/7. So that's 3 in the afternoon, they're doing that time, 3 in the morning, they're getting out to the trucks and moving.
How often do they practice?
Every day, depending on what training's going on, it could be every day. There we go. Sharon's not here today.
This is your office? Yes, sir.
Standards, accreditation, policies and procedures.
Collection of badges and patches.
So the footprint of the stations is designed with several things, obviously comfort like a home, but in addition to figure out the fastest way to get them from inside the building out to the apparatus. So for example, as we come through this door here, there are bunk rooms like this running down the hallway. And at nighttime or daytime, when the tones go off in the station, certain lights come on in the building, and the call is dispatched through those speaker boxes, and the lights will actually come on in each individual bunk room. And
What's a typical shift?
A typical shift? What do you?
During a light season, 3 to 5 during the day, 2 or 3 at night, and then during the busy season, can be anywhere between 12 to 18,
Yeah.
depending on where you're at.
And I will tell you at the
And then, 5 or
Paradise,
6 at night.
the Paradise station, they have hit 24 calls in 24 hours, if not more, at that station. So it's the busiest station in the system.
What's up, Chief?
Hey guys,
How's it going?
who's studying what?
Paramedic.
Oh, okay.
Just started. Not fun. How we doing? Good.
So this is Linda and Jerry. They're making a video about you guys. So
Nice to meet you.
the kitchen is set up here. Another quick access out to the bays. So each shift has a refrigerator, 2 stoves. So that's pretty much.
Appreciate it.
So you have a famous chili recipe that's always a question.
Nobody invites me for dinner.
Only breakfast.
Only breakfast, yes. So.
I heard the fire departments always have great cooks.
Anybody sleeping here? Huh? There we go. So this is their TV room. The same thing as the rest of the station. It's completely speakers throughout the building. We'll see if one of the tones go off while we're here today, but normally it's a pretty loud tone. They know exactly what's going on. So the Village's Department of Public Safety provides probably the most effective and highest level of not only patient care, but other emergencies that we must face every day. We are very customer minded. The residents here in the Villages expect the best, and that's why they have moved here. And they probably have one of the best departments in the United States servicing our clientele.
What an amazing look at the fire station here in the Villages. And really an amazing talk with Chief Cain. We appreciate that more than we can tell you. Did you have a good time?
I sure did.
That's going to do it from here at Station 44.
Please press that like and subscribe button. Until next time.
See you when you get here.